Good morning, everybody. I hope you all had a nice weekend. I know that I certainly did, and all looking forward to the working week ahead. If we look back at the markets over the last week, we had a mixed bag really. The US markets, though, which I always use as a benchmark, were up for the third week in a row. We had the Dow Jones up 1.2%, the Nasdaq up 0.7%. And if you look at my bundle of four that I always like to talk about, Facebook, Microsoft, Google and Apple, we saw the bundle up 1.3%, which once again proves the point that you're better off invested in those than you are the market, because they beat the market once again. Albeit we did have Apple losing some ground, and strangely enough we had Facebook, Google and Microsoft all making the exact same 2% gain during the last week on the markets. We did see the Nikkei up also, 1.6%. I think I mentioned to you last week, or I certainly mentioned in one of my email updates, that I think the 16% fall year to date at the beginning of this month was a fall too far, and therefore there's a buying opportunity there. Hopefully so far so good, and this seems to be panning out in March. We did see a little bit of a pullback on the FTSE. We saw the FTSE down 1%, and in Shanghai we saw the markets down 2.3%. The German DAX was pretty much flat for the whole week. I think those of you that listen regularly know my opinion on Shanghai, so I'm not too concerned about that. And I think there's still some buying opportunities in Germany, and the UK is not in such a bad place either right now. On the currency side of things, we have a strong US dollar still, and we saw the euro move just over 1.4% against the dollar, strengthening euro against the dollar. The other currencies remain pretty flat. We've got the euro at 112. Sorry, I forgot to mention the dollar sterling at 143, which longer term I think is still a cheap sterling, but we had that pretty flat on the week. And we had the Japanese yen at 113, the Chinese one at 6.5. Again, not huge amounts of movements during the week, but we do have a strong US dollar. So if you have US dollars, perhaps maybe the time now to be looking to diversify yourself a little bit. The elections seem to be in the news quite a lot at the moment, and what is going on in America is showing a somewhat divided society between the left and the right. Whilst you could say it's rather entertaining, and I'm not here to put political views across, it does show that there are such differing opinions within people in the United States, which is still, of course, the world leader in the global economy. This is causing a little bit of pessimism in the marketplace, but if we take a quote from John Templeton, who is one of the greatest fund managers of all time, his philosophy was, the time of maximum pessimism is the best time to buy, and the time of maximum optimism is the best time to sell. So again, I'm always going to speak in a bullish manner, but this is factors which you need to be considering, with your hard-earned cash, as you're going to be in a low interest rate environment for the foreseeable future. End of story, I'm afraid. On the sporting fronts this weekend, we saw England continue to do well in the rugby, beating Wales, and so they've already won the Six Nations this year. The Grand Slam, of course, is the next target, if you like, and they haven't won it since 2003. So winning the final game against France will give that and give the England rugby team a boost. The football continues to be entertaining, and again, without wanting to bore you about my specific cases, West Ham, a fantastic performance against United, and I think we're going into the replay of the FA Cup quarter-final as favourites there, something that I certainly can't remember in my lifetime, with the Hammers being favourites against United. So keep it going. As far as I always like to talk about pensions, and one of the facts I was reading the other day in respect of pensions is, the old question, how much do you need to retire? One calculation or one methodology is that if you look at what your annual retirement is, less your state pension, and multiply that by 25. So if I gave you a good example, let's say you think you need 50,000, 50, to retire sterling as a British citizen, and you get 15,000, 15, as an annual pension. These are quite feasible figures. then that would mean you would need a pot of £875,000. So hopefully most of you are well on your way to achieving that. If you're in your 20s or 30s and started saving, there's absolutely no reason. If you're getting late 30s, early 40s, possibly 50s without something, you need to do something about it now. Of course, it's better to start early, but at the same time, it's never too late. We have ways to discuss with you, plans we can put in place to ensure that when you hit that point of retirement, the last thing in the world you want to be worrying about is money. So, make sure you're there, make sure you're in a comfortable place. And if you haven't done anything about it, or you're worried about your current situation is not going to allow you to achieve the goals you want and the financial freedom you deserve in your retirement, come and see me. We can put something in place and then move forward from there. Have a nice week, everybody. Bye.